This is Ramasetu. As a doctor from Pune, he made the report on how I went to Ramasetu and stood on top of the bridge. So people were visiting, people were traveling along that, people were living. And there have been frequent instances of tsunami. So possibly the description of Rama bowing the arrow may be a metaphor for a tsunami that occurred at that time. Who do not know? So and the fact that the volcanic rocks are found in Ramasetu is very important because there is a heat-prone area, similar to the Himalayan heat-prone area where you have got large springs, hot springs and all that. So this fact should have been taken into account before deciding upon any project of major magnitude.
So when we say Ram Setu, so you told the distance is 35 kilometers. Like how much time it would take to build?
So with a large group of people, Vanar Sena who got involved with it with the guidance of Nala and Neela, yes, should have done the job in about 15 to 20 days.
15 to 20 days?
Yes, it's possible. Because it's a question of the number of people who are involved. And then when directions are very clear, yes, and when Samudraja gave directions to Rama, he gave clear indication. There are different levels of depth. It's not all very deep, very shallow. In a number of places you don't require too much of filling up of the bridge. It can be done.
So it is in a straight line or it is like...
No, it's a slight curve is there, which you can see from the NASA images and all that. Yes. Even NASA, even our own satellite images, they show very clearly just a curve. And that curve also would have done, see, because the old land connection between Sri Lanka and India could be part of the same plate. See, the Indian plate would have included Sri Lanka as part of it. So at some point in time, it would have been affected. But then there was a manual intervention to rebridge that channel, to link up the Talaimanar with Dharshkodi into the Park Straits.
So now the continuity of the Setu is still the same, or is there now some water level has risen?
No, not about the same. Oh. In the last 1,000 years, not much of a change has taken place. Okay. Maybe in the earlier years, in fact, NIO, National Institute of Oceanography in Goa, have done some lot of research on the historical levels of the sea, levels of the sea. They found at some point in time, the sea level was even lower. So which means the bridge would have been visible. In fact, there are clear instances where on a tsunami day, you can see the bridge.
Because the tide...
Because when the tide comes and the low tide, you can see the bridge. So the waves move away and then you can see.
So Mama, we are talking about the Setu Samudram project and how you opposed the project, and also you made an agitation which was there all over India, and you were also telling us the anubhutis, the spiritual experiences you had. At that time of agitation, who all helped you?
I tell you, the help was absolutely phenomenal. My God, the people's faith, the Shraddha, is a feeling to be experienced. Unbelievable. The impression was so total. People said, how can it be? It's made by that great avatara who has made this as a symbol of protection of dharma. In fact, in the Ramayana, Vishwamitra tells Dasharatha, I am taking this young man to help us protect our yajnas and all that. Remember one thing, he is not an ordinary person. Ramo Vigrahavan Dharmaha. He is the very embodiment of dharma. And that embodiment of dharma is proved by the establishment of the Ramasetu. So why Ramasetu is important? It is very important because there is a symbol of the protection of dharma. Rama protected dharma by getting an adharmic act rectified. Ravana, a very great scholar, very great devotee of Shiva, who had lifted up the Kailasa, as shown in the Ellara sculptures. But that person had committed a mistake, a blunder. It was adharma. So he had to be rectified. So that act is symbolized by the Setu. The Setu symbolizes the enormous power and effort with the support of the Vanar Sena to reach out and restore dharma in the country. So that is important. So the anubhuti and the experience we had with the people was so total. In fact, we could not, our Sangha people had to stop people from coming from Assam and all that thing. They all had to be taken care of by the Delhi residents. They said, please, enough. So we had to restrict the numbers to about 15 lakh people. Otherwise, more would have come.
Mama, what were the obstacles you faced in this fight?
The pressure from the contractors, the dredging contractors, was so intense. You will be surprised that the government of Belgium gave the Medal of Leopold to Sonia Gandhi. It became an issue in the parliament saying a parliamentary member of parliament cannot accept an award from a foreign country. Why? Why did the King of Belgium give the award, Leopold Award? Because most of the major dredging companies are based in Belgium. So there was very clearly a big multinational corporate interest in getting this job done. Because dredging, whatever they say is the amount of sand they have moved, they will get paid for that. So why spend tens of thousands of crores of rupees for that job? So the pressure was coming not only from the corporate companies, but we also had to face the opposition from the local party in the state. To such an extent that we had an incident where the T.R. Balu was the minister. Papers reported it, that he went to the Sarasvati Mahal library in Tanjore and tried to remove the map from there. The map prepared by the Australian scientist, which showing Ramasetu. So why was there an attempt to suppress the evidence? But luckily for us, we had a copy of the map and then we have published it all over and also in my book. So when so much evidence is there, why try to hide it? So that means there are some very powerful forces at work to prevent our petition from succeeding. So we tried the petition in the Madras High Court, then we were disabled by moving it to Supreme Court in Delhi, then we had to go and fight it there. So the opposition was quite substantial. And then when we went to some senior advocates, I tell you it was a remarkable experience. We went to Senior Advocate Parasharan, Soli Sarabji. You know what they said? We would not accept even a single pie from you as a fee. Normally, these judges take about 15 lakhs per day appearance. They said, you are doing great service for the country, we will come and pay you. Justice Thomas in Ernakulam was the chief justice, he was the justice earlier in the Supreme Court. He gave me a good piece of guidance. Please make sure that your case is fought by eminent lawyers. So we approached these eminent lawyers, and all of them accepted our request and fought for us without taking a single pie as a fees. That is something unusual. So we had on the one hand opposition from the people who are interested in getting the project done for whatever reasons, and then from some people in the political field of the state government desperately trying to have the project. There are some rumors, we do not know, that they also were interested in some ships, small little vessels that were flying between the east coast and west coast, were managed by some local people. So they were also interested in getting the project done. So these are the type of opposition that we had. But I think we overcame it because of the sheer support that we had from the people.
When you overcame all these obstacles and you became victorious and you got a stay on the Setu Samudram project, what was the feeling then?
Feeling is good, but still the victory is not complete, Vinayak, because we have to get the project declared as a national monument, the Ramasetu, because no further attempt should be made, or like a mischief like this to happen again. As of now, there is a stay order. But we require adequate evidences to convince the government that it is declared as a national monument. For example, Kurukshetra Brahma Sarovar is a national monument. Majuli Island and the Brahmaputra River Island in Assam is a national monument. So like that, Ramasetu should also be declared as a national monument and a World Heritage Site. So we have to get that job done. So we are still fighting to complete the job. But as of now, we are satisfied that the damage that was thought to be caused to a very great structure of great importance has been stopped. And that we should be thankful to all the advocates who helped us and supported us. And the Bar Council was phenomenal support for us. So there was very little opposition except for the government lawyers had to argue for the government case. But then there are also incidents that happened which are Daivam, as I told you. So that helped us.
When you were fighting against such a huge project and there were so many vested interests in it, so did you get any calls warning you about or threatening calls to you? Did you get any?
No, surprisingly, people were afraid about that we should not get involved in the politics. So, but the reason why I think happened was we kept it out of politics. We just presented only the facts. For example, we produced a book called Ram Setu. So, Karunanidhi produced a counter book called the Setu. So, we countered it again with Ram Setu. So, we were fighting it on an intellectual plane, purely based on scientific facts.
And did any of these political parties or any vested interests try to bribe you to withdraw the case?
No, nothing of that happened. No attempt of that kind was made, and I think it was a good issue that brought up a lot of awareness among the people about our true heritage and about the reasons why people have so much enormous faith in the idea of Rama, the evidence of Rama as a historical figure. So when we do narrate this, even in the Amar Chitra Katha documentation or in the Ramanand Sagar's Ramayana, all that, so it gives you a lot of joy because they are trying to, our elders were trying to communicate very essential principles of life, of leading a life of righteousness, right conduct, and maintaining your responsibilities. So the key was on the responsibility. So our dharma is based on your karma, your responsibilities you have to perform. So that became a good opportunity for us to remind ourselves of the great heritage we had, of the guidance our dharmic ancestors and pitrus have given us. So it was a remarkable experience. So, but there was no fear for any agitation or any kind, because we kept it purely on basis of facts and scientific evidence. And we did not make it to any street level agitation and all that. So we went on to the courts, and then we were arguing in the courts.
And they say that when there is a Ram Setu, there is a Hanuman Yantra has been placed in Ram Setu. Is it true, Mama?
No, that's not a Hanuman Yantra. There is the floating stone was kept in the temple of Rama and then demonstrated to people that here it is. So what the Ramayana says as the floating stone, here it is, it does float. So Valmiki was a very knowledgeable geologist. He knew about the geology of the country. He knew about the pathway through Dandakaranya from Ayodhya to Sri Lanka. So everything was properly described. So it was a very great scientific document, a historical document, a itihasa. As in our tradition we say both, there are two itihasas. One is Mahabharata and another is Ramayana. So the linking person is Hanuman. The Hanuman is present in Ramayana. Hanuman also is present in the Mahabharata as the father of Bhimana. So that is he becomes the symbol on the flag. Yes. So Anjaneya is adored. See, we call him Vanara. We do not know what Vanara exactly means. A very extraordinary human being, a Nava Vyakarana Pandita. He was knowledgeable in 9 Vyakaranas. So when he first visits Sita in Sundarakanda is such a beautiful document in the Ramayana. He looks at Sita and then says, I found her. And then he gets so agitated. He says, how should I talk to her? In what language should I talk to her? If I talk to her in Sanskritam, she will feel that I am a spy from Ravana. So he talks to her Manasa Bhasha and then conveys to her the story of establishes his identity, saying that I am coming from Dasaratha's son, Dasaratha who ruled in Ayodhya. His son has sent me, here is the ring. So that Sundarakandam is such a dominant influence in our lives, you can never ever forget. In the Harikathas and in the stories that are narrated and in the dramas and films and so on and in the books, it's so intense. It has become part of our personality. It's part of our life principle. So what ideals we live by and what responsibilities you have to perform, that becomes an essence. So it's the universe is the book. The book is the universe.
So when we Googled about Ram Setu, what we found that the name given in Google is Adam's Bridge, or in anywhere in the Wikipedia or any sites we see that they have written it as Adam's Bridge. So is it the way that the British were trying to influence our history, or even the present historians in the last 1 century, they have not presented the correct history?
Absolutely correct. In fact, there is a very beautiful South Asia Atlas prepared by University of Chicago. There, Schulzberg. They were clearly given the maps. All the maps show Ram Setu. There is no mention of Adams Bridge at all. Adams Bridge and Mount Everest are two names given by the British regimes. Okay. So the motivations are very clear. They wanted to link it up to the Christian faith. So that was a very surreptitious way of bringing in the Christian domination to the area. So there is nothing like an Adams Bridge. There is just only cock and bull stories calling it an Adams Bridge.
What was the name for Mount Everest before?
Mount Everest is the Gauri Shankar. Gauri Shankar is the name. There is another called Mount Everest. They just wanted to give it another name. So there was a mischievous attempt to, what shall I call it, to distort the heritage, the traditions.
And also, we say that Ram Setu, now as a Hindu kid, we know that Ram Setu has been a part and parcel of our day-to-day life. When we are small kids, and now also whenever we see Ramayana, the first thing which comes in front of our mind is Ram Setu. So it is a national heritage monument. So Hindus should be able to go there, access the Ram Setu, visit the place and pray. But none of our Indian governments in the last 70 years, they have done nothing for it, that Hindus can go there, pray. So what do you think? In coming days, they should do it?
Of course. Every country, take for instance China, they respect their monuments so, and they are proud that there are Buddhist monuments there. There are Indian temples, Hindu temples there. They celebrate them. So there's no reason why any so-called secular government should feel shy of taking care of this heritage. See, protection of the heritage is part of the United Nations Charter. We have got the UNESCO, which is meant to maintain all these World Heritage Sites, while the UNESCO has declared even the Rig Veda as a oral monument, as a world's oldest document. So like that, I think we should protect these stories, protect these narratives which are part of our Itihasa. So there is one Ananda Kumar Swami, who was a great curator of the museum in New York. He gave a beautiful definition. Don't call it mythology. Mythology is the closest to the reality of truth that you can come to and express in words. So that is the truth. That is how the reality is meant. When my mother tells me or my grandmother tells me that there is a Trivedi Sangamam, Ganga, Yamuna, Sarasvati meet, it's the truth, it's the reality. It's for us to find out where is Sarasvati and then search for her. Same thing happens in the case of Ramasetu. Whenever people have told us that Nala and Neela built the Ramasetu under the direction of the architects and the Vanara to help Rama to cross the bridge. So we take it as part of the historical narrative. So I think it's important, it's the responsibility of each government to protect this heritage, protect these narratives of the historical past, which we cannot forget. Yes. And they are going to be, because they are very important because they become the guideposts for action for the future generations.
As you already said, the fight is far from over. We have to fight until, as you told firstly about that it should be called as a national heritage monument, and also secondly the name has to be changed in all the records. Adams Bridge, it is not an Adams Bridge, as you said. So what do you think that what Hindus should do and how this fight they should carry on forward?
Of course it must carry on. See, after all, we have got a good opportunity now. Thanks to the Setu Samudram project initiative, we have now at least made the people realize, the younger generation knows. Now the NASA, Science Channel of America, they are all now coming in support of all of what our scientists have been saying all the time. After the bathymetric tests of the NIOT and National Institute of Oceanography in Goa, they are all proved to be correct. So with that framework of activity that has already taken place, we should take it forward and then make sure that the gets declared as a national monument. We should be able to even create a beautiful marine museum there. Yes. And then look at, make our children go through and look at the green turtles that cross through, then look at the algae that gives us the cancer-fighting drugs, and then the Shanka that is available there. So all that information can be made available to the children. So it should be not only as a tourist spot, but as a pilgrimage spot. See, we must restore this Dham Yatra. So you visit Rameshwaram, visit Kashi, Vishwanath, then go to Kedarnath, then go to Somnath, and then go to Kamakshi in Assam. So that the circuit, the Tirtha Yatra circuit must be complete. That must be made available because that is what has united our country is this. The Tirtha Yatras mention In the Mahabharata, there are about 500 slokas on Tirtha Yatras. Even Balarama goes on a Tirtha Yatra along the Sarasvati. So they are all very great institutions of uniting the country. So which instead of dividing the people between the north and the south or this that group and that group and different names of the regions and all that, we must create a unified idea of the country as Bharatam. After all, look at our ancestors. They went to the Angkor Wat and built the largest temple in the world, the Vishnu Mandiram. They spread the idea of the Shiva, Vinayaka in all these countries, Laos, Cambodia, Vietnam, Thailand, everywhere. So those ideas must be cherished. So we must recreate the Hindu Mahasagar Parivar and Himalaya Parivar. And the Himalayas is such a phenomenal institution, stretching from Hanoi in Vietnam to Haifa in Israel, more than 6,000 kilometers. And that is our water giver. Where the Mount Kailas, we have a beautiful metaphor of Kailasanatha sitting on top, and out of the Jata flowing the Ganga. So these metaphors are so powerful messages of the protection for the civilization given to us by that great water tower called the Himalayas. That holds such large amount of water that gives rise to 5 major rivers: Sutlej, Sindhu, Brahmaputra, Irrawaddy, Salween, Mekong, Yangtze, Huanghe in going to China. So gigantic river systems, perennial rivers, they must all be protected. So which means we must protect our glaciers. We must make sure that we can create a national water grid so that we can reach out water to every village. Himalayan Banga waters can reach every 6 lakh villages, 6 lakh villages in India. Every house should be able to get, by opening the tap, water, or by putting on the bore pump, water. A national water grid can be created to make available the Himalayan waters. The flood waters of Brahmaputra alone are enough. They are equal to the total amount of water that flows in all the rivers south of India. Mahanadi, Godavari, Krishna, Kaveri. So if those flood waters can be moved by gravity, we can create a national water grid. We have also proposed it to the government, and I think the work is going on to create that. Work will start very soon for the revival of the river Sarasvati, and then we will get the Ganga waters into Kaveri soon.
You were telling us about the Akhanda Bharatam, and that Bharatam which was there right from Indonesia up to, you're telling, the Tehran or the Haifa in Israel. So this Akhanda Bharatam has to come up, and for that purpose, what we should do as Hindus, what the next generation should do, this generation should do. And also, you are doing a monumental research on the Sindhu and the Saraswati river. So about tell us something about that also.
You know, about the Akhanda Bharat.
Yes.
You know, in the early days of our independence, in the universities and colleges, there used to be a course called the Greater India, which was taught to the children. That has been given up. See, that is, we are trying to forget our own memories, which are remembered even today by people called Bali Yatra. In Orissa, people celebrate Bali Yatra on Kartik Purnima day by the children going to the ocean and then leaving boats, remembering their ancestors who went to Bali, to Indonesia. So that memory is remembered by the people, but we seem to have forgotten. We are not telling the children about this story of the greatness of our people. But there is one French scholar called Georges Coedes, Coedes. He has written a magnificent book. He is a French epigraphist who had control over Vietnam, the French. The name of the book, you will be surprised, is called Hinduized States of the Ancient Far East. So the entire culture of these countries, Indonesia, Laos, Vietnam, Cambodia, Malaysia, they're all vibrant with Hindu culture. They are so proud that by religion may be Muslim in Indonesia, but by culture we are Hindus. They're so proud of it. And in fact, there are statues of Bhima, Ghatotkacha in Bali and in Java. There's Parambana and Brahmavana temple. And all those temples have got sculptures showing the Mahabharata and Ramayana events. Shivalingas have been found, 200, in Laos, Cambodia, Vietnam. Vinayaka idols have been found. So these celebrations are all celebrations of the Hindu culture and dharma. They call it Dhamma in Bodham tradition. We call it Dharma. Dhamma, same thing, with some slight technical variations. So this Greater India tradition means the idea of a Hindu Mahasagar Parivar and a Himalaya Parivar, which can constitute a total of about 2.5 billion people, which is roughly about more than 33% of the world population, can be serviced by the Himalayan regime, and we can have water flowing through the Mekong, Irrawaddy, Salween, and link it up. And now, what was happening in our ancient past? There was a lot of metallurgical activity that was going on. Copper was found, but then copper was very soft. So they found the idea, somebody brilliantly came up with the idea of creating an alloy by adding another metal, you create a new alloy. Because arsenical bronze was in short supply, naturally. So somebody found the idea that if you add copper and tin, it becomes bronze, Kamsa. And where was the tin available? In the ancient forest, Mekong River, Irrawaddy, Salween. Do you know why? How the tin got accumulated? The Himalayan rivers flow for 2,500 kilometers. They grind down the granite rocks and create this cassiterite ore, placer deposits, thousands of years. This cassiterite ore, the largest tin belt of the globe, is in the forest. And the Indian Ocean became the channel for transferring these resources to entire Europe. India was the intermediary. So our ancestors were the dominant artisans and seafaring merchants who were helping the people from the Far East, bringing tin through the Indian Ocean, through Gujarat, and through the river waterways, and transmitting across through Persian Gulf. So we have found pure tin ingots in a shipwreck in Haifa, in Israel. How did it come? It came through the intermediation of the Indian. So on the Sarasvati River, where we have got about 2,000 archaeological sites, we have found there was a lot of activity going on in metalwork, creating new alloys. For example, in Marathi, there is a word called bharata. Bharata means a metal made up of copper, zinc, and pewter. Bhartanje bhande. So Bharata, the name Bharata itself could have come from this metal. It may not necessarily be related to the name of a king. The Bharata, which means the technical competence of the ancient Indians in creating new metalwork. That's evident in the iron pillar that we have, and that's also evident in the beautiful painting in the Steel Authority of India Limited, Ranchi. There is a painting which shows Purushottama Porus handing over a steel sword to Alexander as a gift. After he got defeated, he has to go back, and after 30 days he dies in Mesopotamia. That steel, unrusted iron pillar, how did it happen? Competence. The metallurgical competence, the brilliance of our scientists and technologists. That has got to be remembered. So the entire river valley of the Sarasvati was, for 1,500 kilometers, servicing these seafaring merchants and artisans in transferring the resources and materials all over. For example, they made the beautiful sculptures of the dancing girl. In Mohenjo-daro, 2 of them are found. Same technique is used even today in Swamimalai, in making the bronze statues of Nataraja, Rama, and Krishna. So there's a lot of work that has got to be done in researching this greater India. So how did the tin route take place? It was 2,000 years before the Silk Road, between linking China and Mesopotamia.